We are back for our segment of the Italian Radio Hour dedicated to fashion. Before bringing our next guest on, Salvatore Giardina and Khushbu Ivan, a little pubblicità. Applying for dual citizenship? Need documents translated? Istituto Mondo Italiano provides certified translation and interpretation services in 20 different languages. Be sure to visit us at www.istitutomondoitaliano.org. Well, I'm very honored to bring to you both Professor Salvatore Giardina and one of the students of this wonderful program that we will be talking about from the State University of New York, the FIT, the Fashion Institute of Technology, Khushbu Ivan. Professor Salvatore Giardina is an adjunct professor of textile development and marketing at FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology, part of the State University of New York, and a menswear designer. Salvatore's passion about menswear and giving back and helping others has earned him honors and awards. In 2016, Salvatore received the prestigious Ragusani del Mondo Award from the city of Ragusa in Sicily, and representing the United States in the field of fashion. Salvatore was recognized for his many accomplishments in men's fashion and also for his 21 years as an adjunct professor at the FIT. In November of the same year, Salvatore was also invested as a Knight of Malta as a recognition of his charitable works. Khushbu is from South Carolina. She's a senior student studying textile development and marketing with minors in art history and ethics and sustainability. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to have us.
Let's start with you, Professor Giardina. If you don't mind, I will be calling you simply Sal or Salvatore. This award from Ragusa makes me believe that you have some ties also with the motherland, with Sicily. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, your family, where it's originally from?
Sure. My family, my mother and father were born in Sicily, in Pozzallo, Sicily. They immigrated to the United States in 1959, and shortly after that I was born. But growing up in an immigrant family, recent immigrants from Sicily to the United States, I was always going back and forth to Sicily with my parents during our summer holidays. So I grew up in a household in the United States, but with the culture of Italy.
Mm-hmm. Some of the traditions that you still maintained?
Oh, absolutely. We even though we had lived in Brooklyn, and my parents still live in Brooklyn, it was almost like being in a Sicilian household. You know, we spoke Italian, we ate Italian food. Where they lived in Brooklyn, it was an Italian neighborhood, so it was almost like being in a village in Italy, but
Mm-hmm.
in the United States.
Wonderful. And so what brought you to the fashion industry? Was there anything specific or anyone in your family that maybe was already in the fashion industry?
Well, when I was younger, my mom was a seamstress, but I really didn't pay too much attention to that. You know, she was sewing. She worked at a local factory in Brooklyn. I had joined the Navy when I was 18 years old, and I had in my career to be associated with the Merchant Marine, because everyone in my family was in the Merchant Marine in Italy. So I was just following my family line, and it dates back to the middle 1800s. Mm-hmm. And I realized during one of the engagements I was involved with, the invasion of Grenada in 1983, so when I realized I didn't want a career in the Navy. I was actually a 4.0 sailor, and I was asked by the captain, they select 80 sailors a year to go to the Naval Academy, and he had asked if I wanted to go, and he would sponsor me. And I realized that, you know, having a career at sea might be quite difficult. Mm-hmm. So during the invasion of Grenada, I opened up a book on careers in the United States, mm-hmm. not knowing what to do. And I looked at this career of the fashion industry and textiles, and I said, well, here's a career that allows me to travel around the world, yet become based in New York, where my family was from. And I did that. I applied to FIT. I was accepted immediately, was discharged from the Navy, and started school.
Wonderful. So FIT for you is like a really now being an adjunct professor, really coming full loop because you experience it as a student. So it was not just a position that you have acquired in your career. It's really been on both sides of the desk, so to speak. That's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, and it's really it's fascinating to teach because, like I tell my students, I was sitting in the same chairs that they were sitting in. So it's as you said, it's a full circle contribution.
Now, just a little funny thing. I believe your Instagram handle is the suit professor. Is it true that you actually wore a tuxedo at a final exam for the students?
Yes, that's true. My students had challenged me to wear a tuxedo during the final exam, and that morning I got dressed. My wife was saying, "Where are you going? Putting a tuxedo on?" And I said to her, "Well, it's just like putting on any other suit, except that it's black and I have a bow tie." And
Wonderful.
so-
That is really that's really amazing. Now let's talk a little bit. I know that you have been again invested by the Knight of Malta, and we'll talk about that. Maybe some of your charitable works, but let's explain for our listeners and what is the Fashion Institute of Technology, and what are some of the programs that are offered.
Oh, the Fashion Institute of Technology is a wonderful college offering 2-year, 4-year, and also master's degrees. Um, it's primarily known for fashion design and fashion merchandising. However, there are a lot of other departments, as mine, which is the textile department, and that department specializes in the technology of studying textiles. But we have menswear in addition to fashion design. We have children's wear, children's design, interiors. They have a very famous advertising and communications department, technical design, and many, many others. I mean, so many different design and business, whether it's fashion, whether it's home products, whether it's jewelry, shoemaking,
Mhm.
everything creative. It's a wonderful school. And when I travel around the world and I tell people that I'm associated with the Fashion Institute of Technology, it has such a wonderful reputation.
Mhm.
Whether I'm in China or Europe, it's always met with the highest regard.
Hmm. Wonderful. Yes, indeed. As I was chatting with Sarah Gay Forden, the author of The House of Gucci, she's also, when I mentioned that I would be having you on the second segment, she said, oh, the Fashion Institute of Technology is indeed a wonderful institution. Well, Kushbu, let's hear your side of the story. I'm sure you will be agreeing with what Professor Giardino has shared. But tell us a little bit about yourself and then how you got to FIT.
Yeah, so I'm originally from South Carolina, and FIT's in New York, so it's a pretty far jump. But I initially had an arts background, and I knew that I was interested specifically in design, so like the intersection of art and function, rather than just fine arts or specifically going into business. And textiles seemed to be really kind of the perfect meeting point. I also have a biochemistry background as well, so I'm specifically interested in like sustainable technology related to the production of textiles. So anywhere from like biosynthetics or just like developing better post-consumer waste methods, but really like sustainable practices can only be seen by understanding every level of like the textile production and manufacturing. And it seemed that FIT in the textile development program there really was a comprehensive overview of that. So that's why I ended up at FIT. And it also just seemed like FIT seemed to be the best place to be to get connections to the fashion industry. I'm sure, as you'll hear later, Professor Giardina talk about all of these amazing connections that he has in Europe that he was able to introduce us to during our trip. So FIT really seems to be the place to be for fashion or anything textiles related.
Wonderful. So what was your reaction once you find out that there was indeed this study abroad experience where you would have gone to visit some of the mills? Did you ever think that was going to be something down the path, or must have been pretty an exciting opportunity?
Yeah, it was super exciting. I think when I first heard about the trip, I was like, this is something that I don't think it's ever been offered at FIT. And it's kind of a lot of our first time seeing the firsthand behind the scenes of a lot of these mills and factories. So I immediately signed up because I knew that it was going to be absolutely life changing. You know, being able to go into like the background scenes of all of these luxury mills that are really at the pinnacle and the forefront of luxury textile development is, I mean, it's an opportunity that so many people in the industry still don't get, you know, and the fact that that was being put in front of us as an opportunity was absolutely insane. Also, I've never been to Europe before, so it was kind of a no-brainer.
Wonderful. Professor Giardina, how did you articulate the program, and what was some of the pre-trip preparation that maybe we can talk about the actual trip and maybe some of the good lesson learned after the trip. So let's talk a little bit about how the program you envision and design this program.
Well, Viviana, the program, let's take a few steps back. FIT has many programs abroad, all over the world, especially Italy. And what they didn't want was another class to go to Italy. So that was a big challenge because they've got fashion merchandising, photography classes, drawing classes, fine art. So I had presented the idea of Italian textiles because that is the DNA of the fashion industry, is textiles. So whether from the day that we're born to the day that we expire, we're no more than 3 feet away from a textile product. Mm-hmm. When you see a garment, whether it's a blouse, a suit, a pair of pants, you see the textile. You don't see the sewing. I mean, although when you look closely, you could see seams, but you see the fabric, and the fabric is against your body. It's so important to understand how fabrics react to certain different environments. And this is what the luxury brands in Europe use, because a luxury brand, as in your background, Gucci, say, for example, they use luxury textiles because a luxury product demands a high quality textile product. It goes hand in hand. It's sort of like buying a car, a very expensive sports car. You don't put a 4-cylinder engine inside of it. It's a supercharged engine. So the interior, the interlinings, the linings, the shell fabric, that is the majority of what you see. So envisioning this, I had seen in the industry so many people not understand textiles. Mm-hmm. And it would benefit people's career, especially FIT students, knowing and understanding this as soon as they graduate. Instead of spending the time to learn this, what would take on average 5 to 10 years, mm-hmm. in one class, the students can learn all about the aspects of the luxury cottons, wools, and silks. Mm-hmm. And then to visit some showrooms, visit museums, and to understand how this all collectively comes together.
Can you tell us about some of the specific mills that you visited and what did they specialize in?
Sure. We started the trip with a visit to Reda in Biella, and Biella is in the outskirts of Milan, I would say about an hour and a half away, at the foot of the Alps. And Biella is known for high quality wools in that region. So it's a community, it's small towns that house all different mills that specialize in wools.
Mhm.
And that's because of the water. One of the main reasons why those high quality mills have prospered in that area, because going back to the 1300s, that they had realized that the water had less minerals in it.
Mm.
So it was almost like a decontaminated water. So when you're dyeing, you're not feeling the minerals. It's almost mineral free. And it makes for really high quality fabric. Then we went to visit Albini in Bergamo. And in Bergamo, which is also about an hour and a half away from Milan, and they're noted for high quality cottons used in shirtings, men's and women's shirtings. And then we went to visit Ratti in Como, in the outskirts of Como, and they're known for high quality silks. And they do a lot of work with high-end designers.
Mhm. Wonderful. Khushbu,
Oh,
what was
let me add one more. I'm sorry. We went to visit the store Candiani Denim.
oh,
We didn't visit the mill, but we went to visit their store in Milan and seen their whole process on sustainable denim and how they make a custom pair of jeans in Milan.
Khushbu, would you be able to elaborate also on what you have seen in the store or some of the other experiences from a student's perspective?
Yeah, sure. So specifically at a lot of these mills, we were seeing the manufacturing process from fiber to finish. So I mean, we were literally seeing like the bales of cotton and then that being like cleaned and then processed into yarn and thread and woven or knit and then dyed and finished. So seeing that firsthand was also really amazing. At Ratti specifically, Ratti is known for their beautiful printings. They do like digital printing as well as traditional printing. So they do these beautiful, beautiful silk prints, like Professor said, for these high-end designers. I mean, we got a little peek at their archives and it was I wanted to spend hours and hours in there. Oh yeah, so mind-blowing. And then Candiani, the denim company that Professor mentioned, it's we got to see their micro factory where they make made to measure jeans. So they really took us through the process of how they make their denim at their mill, which is not too far from their micro factory, as well as how they go about the process of creating sustainable jeans that are meant to last, as well as can be brought back in and interchanged and customized and things like that. So I think from my perspective, it was just really interesting to see how all of these different mills work so domestically, like, because I think that's so different than like what you hear about textile production here in the United States. Because I mean, we import so many things, and we have a lot of work done overseas. So it was really interesting to see like the vertical manufacturing of a lot of these mills and factories.
So do you think that what you have seen will impact or has impacted some of your future practices? Or
Oh yeah, of course. A lot of these mills and factories, I mean, they're really at the forefront of sustainability. Like, I think that a lot of times when we talk about sustainability here in the US, we think of like, oh, it's not scalable, it's not possible to be sustainable and profitable. But these mills are proving us wrong. I mean, they have incredible certifications. They give back to their local communities, and they're working with governments to create sustainable legislature, and they're making lots of money because they have like an established customer base, and they're making commitments not only to quality textiles but also to sustainability. So the fact that I know that it's possible now, it's just reassuring that there needs to be so much change. Then I'm no longer going to settle for something that's less than quality or these like fake promises of sustainability, you know.
And then we actually talked about sustainability in the fashion industry a few episodes ago, and I highly recommend that you both find, I think it was on Amazon, this documentary is called Stracci, which in Italian translates into rags, but is indeed for a specific town in Tuscany, Prato, that for centuries has been indeed recycling wool, and how the first step is, I mean, there are indeed both the designer has the responsibility to design a garment that is going to not only just last, but has a conscience. And also we as consumers, instead of going just for the quick fashion and just piling up a bunch of cheap clothes in our closets, to just kind of realize that those clothes that we're not going to wear anymore, they're going to have a polluting effect. So we are all responsible, both from the consumer side and also the designer, to again not just go for the pretty fashion, but something that is also good for the planet. Salvatore, I know that since some of the students, I don't know if maybe all of the students, it was their first trip to Europe, you imparted some cultural information so that we'll feel, we have about a minute. Some of the things that you wanted to tell the students when you go to Italy, what they should do or maybe shouldn't do.
Well, I think the first thing is just to be respectful to everyone, to your hosts, to say thank you. Something that my mom always taught me is never give your back to anyone. So I remember telling the students
yes,
that. No, I mean, the whole idea is just to be respectful and nice. And the Mills had told me how wonderful the students were. And they said that they get students from around the world. They said our group by far was one of the best they've ever had.
Wonderful. That's a pretty amazing recognition.
That was an honor, actually.
Well, I cannot thank you enough for taking time from your very busy day to share this wonderful experience with us. Again, I stumbled upon it on lovely Instagram, and the pictures were just captivating. I needed to find out more, so I was very happy when Professor Giardina actually responded to my request for connecting. I'm going to say my goodbyes, and I will be following you, Khushbu, and try and find your name on the labels. So unfortunately, our hour is up. Il Big Ben ha detto stop. It's time for us to say arrivederci e alla prossima. We want to thank you for tuning into the program. If you have any questions or comments, please contact us at theitalianradiohour@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Who will be our next guest next week? Next week, we'll talk to Andrea Franzoni from Brescia in Italy about his upcoming mission, Train Long Gone, a bike journey across the US to honor his grandfather, Aldo Arrighi, while retracing places where his grandfather had been held captive from 1943 to 1946. Then we'll talk to documentary producer Michael Di Lauro about his documentary Prisoners Among Us, so don't miss this episode, as there will be many memories and stories about the nonni in the army that many people can relate to. And remember, if any of your family and friends have missed a prior episode or would like to listen to this episode again, please visit us online at istitutomondoitaliano.org and click on the Italian Radio Hour tab. Vorremmo ringraziare i nostri ospiti, Sara Gay Forden, Salvatore Giardina, Khushbu Jiban, il nostro sponsor Istituto Mondo Italiano e Alla Boara per la musica. And finally, before we leave, here is our fashion-related trivia question for the week. What does "questa gonna ti sta a pennello" mean? And again, what does "questa gonna ti sta a pennello" mean? Please send us your answers to the Italian Radio Hour at gmail.com. And if you're not living in the Pittsburgh area or you might be out of town, remember you can catch us streaming live at khbradio.com every Thursday at 5 p.m. And be sure to like us on Instagram and Facebook at the Italian Radio Hour. Until next time, alla prossima. Ciao, ciao.